I don't think people take Yiddish seriously. When you encounter places where, for example, I went to a theater to see a play that was created based on or inspired by Yiddish literature. And it was 3 separate shows actually. And, you wouldn't at all guess that they came anywhere from Yiddish. They were interesting. But one of them, part of the show was that each of the members of the audience got a little booklet, which supposedly had Yiddish writing in it. So I opened this up, and it's not. I mean, it was Yiddish orthography, but it was not Yiddish. And again, I get offended because I think to myself, all right, well, they figure nobody can read this anyway, so what's the difference? Well, I can read it, and I know the difference, and don't offend me by doing something like this. And then there was something else I saw at one point. Some people are sensitive to this. I went to see Red. Did you ever see that on Broadway? Michael Grandage directed that. And in it, it's an artist, a Jewish artist. Who was it? Was it Jackson Pollock? I can't remember who it was. That's because I'm old and my memory is very bad. But he had the character say Kaddish at one point. And I think I went to a dress rehearsal. Yeah, I was invited to a dress rehearsal of it, and that's why I was able to do this. So the actor, who was Alfred Molina, a really good actor, says Kaddish, but he does it in modern Hebrew, like the modern Hebrew accent. And I know the history of this. I can't remember whoever this was. I knew the history and knew he was from Eastern Europe, or his family was from Eastern Europe. He wouldn't have said it that way. So I left a note for Grandage and said, just wanted you to know that he would be pronouncing it this way, not that way, these words. And I think he changed it. I didn't go back and see it, but he wrote me a note thanking me. So some people care, but other people would just dismiss it and say, so what? Nobody's going to notice the difference. They won't know. And that kind of not caring, it's there a lot. It's in translations. It's lazy translations, inaccurate translations. If you don't know what something means, you just make it up. Now, I'm very particular about my translations. I go over them and over them and over them, because of course each time you do that, you get a better translation. It's that, first you go from the Yiddish to the English, and then you work on the English to make it sound like English and not Yinglish. But by that time, you have to go back and look at the Yiddish again to see how far you have been removed. In the beginning, when I started doing this, I felt such an obligation. I mean, it was a neurotic obligation to be faithful, that I just couldn't even change an A to an an. I mean, but then I realized that if I'm doing this, if it's about the literature, then, you do sometimes have to make little changes so that it sounds in English, just like the playwright intended it to sound in Yiddish. And that's where I come from. Wanting English-speaking audiences to hear this the way Yiddish-speaking audiences would have heard it or heard it.